Hello and welcome back again to That Tracks F1 podcast. It's great to have you here. It's a little bit of a special episode today. It's our half-term report for the 2026 season so far. And I'm not here on my own. I'd like to welcome back again our previous guest, Jake Wilkins. He's a very successful Club 100 kart racer and a huge fan of F1. And it's absolutely brilliant to have him back again here with us today. Now, today is going to be a much longer episode than we normally do. Get comfortable, get yourself a drink, and before you do any of that, can I please ask you to give us a like, a subscribe, a follow. The links to our socials will all be in the show notes, and the links to Jake's socials will also be in the show notes. So if you could also go along and give Jake a like as well, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you. So it's great to have you back again with us, Jake. Thanks for agreeing to come along.
Yeah, it's nice to be back here, thank you.
And I think this time we will have a bit of a half-term report now we're in the summer break on how the teams and the drivers are doing.
Yeah, I think this will definitely be interesting because obviously we're going to disagree, or maybe on the same page, but we'll find out.
I think we're normally pretty much on the same page, but we'll see if there's any big discrepancies in the marks we give. So I thought we'd start in reverse order of like the constructors at the moment. So starting with Cadillac, and we'll perhaps first off talk about how the team's doing as a whole and then look at the drivers individually.
Yep.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about Cadillac?
Obviously, they're a brand new team, so you're not going to see a team of that calibre do well, no offence to them, in the first season.
That's fair.
Unless by off chance it was Braun, but that was a miracle. No, it's obviously they've got a lot of progress that they need to get on with. I think they are initially improving every race, just obviously only little jumps here and there.
Yeah.
But I think the main issue is reliability and less brake fires would be better.
Yeah.
But as an overall, give it next year or 2 years, you could find that they'll get somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's obviously just going to be a bit of a slow burner at the minute. So what do you think?
So what would you give them out of 10?
At the minute, no offence to them, probably a 4.
Oh, harsh. You're harsh.
Sure. Not the fact it's just being harsh, it's just that you got to think about the team itself. They're a brand new team, so you can't necessarily give them a high score of that because they're not necessarily shown overall pace throughout the season at the minute, besides little improvements here and there.
Yeah.
But obviously, I would like to say after this summer break, because obviously they're going to have like 2-3 weeks to upgrade the cars or whatever. Hopefully, we can see a bit of a turnaround.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily see them score points, but just get that bit closer, gaining 1 or 2 more positions, 1 or 2 more teams. Yeah. Could be a possibility.
And maybe I've been a bit generous then, but I've actually given them 7.5 out of 10 because I think I've kind of judged them more where they are as a team rather than where they are on the grid.
Yeah.
In a way. So they're kind of where I thought they would be. I didn't expect them to be anything other than last. I did get a bit carried away in my pre-season review and decided that actually I thought they'd score points. And I'm not saying that's off the table. I think they still could pick up a point here or there.
They could have scored a point in Monaco.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for the penalty.
Exactly.
Which obviously we know this season so far, penalties are a bit...
So
bit haywire at the minute.
Yeah.
They like to be giving out left, right and centre.
Giving them out like sweeties,
Yeah.
I thought, the best finish they've had was Bottas, who was 13th in Canada. And obviously, like you just mentioned, Perez would have been 10th in Monaco, but for a bit of a silly mistake, he was out of position at the restart, I believe. And so that bumped him down to 15th. But as you've touched on, the biggest issue they've got is the DNSs, the DNFs, the brake fires, just the overheating in general. You can guarantee as soon as you hear the commentator say, "Oh, we've got a Cadillac slowing down," something's on fire.
Yeah.
Something's overheated. But I think they've made a really, really good, solid start. They've got 2 really good drivers with lots of experience that I would hope are feeding back to the team all the time. So I think if they can iron out those gremlins with the reliability, I think you could see, like you said, a steady upward climb this year. And as the years tick by, next couple of years, you'll start seeing them climbing up the order. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10 for me. Moving on to the drivers as individuals, what mark did you give Perez out of 10?
5. You can see him trying to put the effort in.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not the driver, it's the car at the minute.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know Perez is a good driver.
Yeah.
So obviously, he was a good driver in Force India, in Red Bull. So we know he can do it. It's just he needs that background behind him
Needs
just
the
to push him.
equipment. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've given him a 6 out of 10, so we're more or less in the same ballpark. Like you said, I do feel he's doing his best. He's not giving anything less than 100%.
He's extracting everything that he can
From
from
what
the
he's
car
got.
before it breaks down.
Exactly, yeah. My only criticism a little bit would be too many silly penalties that he's picking up.
Yeah.
Penalties here and there for things that a driver of his experience should not be picking up. So, and what have you got for Bottas?
I'll give him the same mark. Thing
Have
is,
you?
I think for me, they've both shown equal performance.
Yeah.
I would say. Obviously, Bottas, same with Perez, getting the best out of the car that they can before reliability issues hit.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know Bottas is a very good driver, same as Perez. So hopefully, maybe when we come back on next year, we'll start to see them climbing the ranks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I ummed and ahed with this, and I was going to give them the exact same mark. So Bottas would have had a 6 out of 10. I've given him a 6.5. I know it's a bit naughty giving half points, but I haven't given him a 6.5 because on countback, I think he is just ahead of Perez when it comes. And I know that's a little bit contentious because you've got the reliability issue there.
No, I think he is, because I think Bottas has had a few 13th, 14th place finishes.
Yeah,
I know Perez
13th
is
in
at 1 or 2,
Canada.
but I think, like you said, Bottas has slightly outperformed Perez at the minute.
Not so much in qualifying when it comes to, like, obviously they're taking up pretty much the back of the grid.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to the race, I think they're fairly evenly matched. And there is that rumour doing the rounds at the minute that Perez is going to Williams. I don't know how much stock I'd put in that. But
I have heard about that, and I have heard about Sainz going to Aston Martin.
It all sounds like a frying pan fire situation for everybody for me.
I think it's silly season, isn't it?
Well,
so
yeah, exactly.
We'll never know, but there is a lot of contracts up this year, so obviously we've got that to look forward to. Cause I think it's near enough most of the drivers on the grid that needs new contracts.
Well, it's Verstappen kind of holding the key to everybody else's. Once he moves, everybody else will move. Right, so let's move on and have a look at Aston Martin, and I'm sure we've both got plenty to say about Aston Martin. Everybody's got plenty to say about Aston Martin, haven't they? For me, as a team score, and I hate to do it, it's 2 out of 10 for me. I remember watching the launch in the February, and it was an utter, I can't say the word.
That was a mess.
The polite word was, it was a mess. And I turned to my son and I said, if this is an example of how this season's going to be, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, because I believe they went off air twice.
Oh, yeah, too.
Because I was watching it, I'm like, I just want to see the livery. I don't want to mess about with all the talking and that. I just want to see the livery.
I'm just excited to see the car. Yeah, we've heard so much about this car. And then they compounded it by still trying to insist that it was live when it clearly wasn't, because they were just replaying the same bit of tape 3 times of Lawrence Stroll walking onto the stage, and it was like, that's not live. So I was like, this is not the best start. And obviously, as you know, it's just been absolute crap show, for want of a better word. The amazing vibrating car that shakes itself to bits. Yeah. And it just all went downhill from there. And they had all these huge expectations. The best of everything. They got Adrian Newey. They got the factory. They got all of this money thrown at them left and right. And it just goes to show that it just doesn't, it's not everything. Doesn't necessarily work. The one thing I will say, and this is not just to the guys at the top, but to everybody right down to the person with the most menial job in the team, is how they have turned up every weekend and held their head up and kept trying. I don't know. And that is to be admired. That tenacity. And I think in a really weird way, it's going to set them up really well for the future, because as a team, they've now bonded together in the worst of possible circumstances.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So that's going to give them such a good basis when things do improve. And I do think they will improve. I think we've started to see it a little bit already. I mean, obviously, Alonso got that point in Monaco more by good luck than anything else. But the strategy was there. The team did pull the strategy right to get him in that position to pick up that point. So yeah, that's where the 2 comes in. Is I've got a lot of respect for the fact that they do turn up every weekend, and they do. I mean, they ain't got a lot of choice, I know, but they do try and get on with it, and they do try and look for the positives. And I do think it will build a very strong team foundation.
Oh yeah.
So, what mark did you give them?
Well, I've got 2.
No.
So obviously got one from the start of the season. I'd agree with you, a 2. So obviously we know the car which was supposed to be, it's a championship winning car, nowhere. Obviously, we know all the issues that happened with the car, the health and safety it was causing for the drivers, hand vibrations as well, which could have been crucial. Exactly the same points as you raised. But after seeing the Hungarian Grand Prix, I have now given them a 5. Just because we've seen a huge improvement.
Yeah.
And they're only 300ths off Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
Which they're consistently in the points. So could we see Aston Martin now starting to grab a few points here and there after the summer break? I think we can.
I think we will, and I think we'll have more races because of the way reliability is across the grid, where some of the people further up will drop out, and a bit like Monaco, they'll look into some points as well.
Yeah, like Mercedes. Like another thing, Mercedes with reliability, they've used all their engines.
Yeah,
McLaren's used all their engines. I'm not sure about Ferrari. I'm not sure about Red Bull. You've got one top team at the minute who could be in trouble. Then you got like the likes of McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. They could start catching up.
Exactly. I think it's going to be a really interesting second half of the season. Definitely. Yeah. So looking at the individual marks, then I see you laughing. Everybody picks on Stroll, and
No, to be fair, I'll give him credit for Hungary though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was his 200th Grand Prix. Bless him. I just don't like it. I kind of feel like he's kind of he's the low hanging fruit. It's the punching bag of the grid. Everybody like picks on him and takes the mick out of him, and yeah, I get some of it. I see where people are coming from, but at the end of the day, I couldn't do what he does. No way. And I get that he is in a privileged position, but I also feel like sometimes you sometimes see Ocon trying to include him in things, and we'll go up and speak with him, but he does all, and I think some of it's like his own doing, that he doesn't seem to gel with everybody. And part of me, I'm a bit curious about him, and I'm like, I'd actually like to get to know you and find out who you really are, because I think with every other driver on the grid, you've got a sense of a little bit who they are outside of the car. And with him, I've got nothing.
I think the thing with Stroll is he keeps himself to himself. Sometimes that's what you have to do in sport, especially in such a high-level sport like F1. Sometimes you just got to keep your guard up. Don't let your guard down, because the moment you let your guard down, they'll know what your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And they will pick at it. So I know I don't like Stroll as much. Obviously, I liked him when he was in Williams and Force India. But I think it's just that, he could just look a bit more happier.
Yeah, at least look like you actually want to be there occasionally would be a good start. So, I've given him 4 out of 10. And I think that the Aston Martin drivers are really, really difficult to grade because we're not really getting to see what they can do.
Yeah, we're not actually seeing what they can actually pull out of the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, besides the Hungarian Grand Prix.
I mean, I had a quick look back over Stroll's results, and you've got Australia, he wasn't classified on 15 laps down. China, DNF. Japan, DNF. Miami, 17th, but a full lap down. Canada, 15th and 4 laps down. Monaco, DNF. Barcelona, DNF. Austria, DNF. UK, DNF. Belgium, DNF. And Hungary, 13th, which is obviously post this set of updates. And again, I know people could say, well, it's easy for him, isn't it? But just to turn up and get in that car, I think I couldn't. I'd be so depressed at this point. And again, with qualifying, yes, I know that the deficit is not as big as it was. It was at one point like 40-something to Alonso. When it comes to qualifying, and now this season it's 9-2 to Alonso. So ordinarily I'd have probably given him a 2 or a 3, but I don't know if you've seen that footage of that the move the car pulled on him in the tunnel at Monaco.
Yeah,
and how he held that and even somehow managed to be able to laugh about it and go, oh my god, this car. And I was like, that's character, and I really liked that, and it really warmed me to him a bit. And I was like, that was such a good save, I have to say. Yeah. And I just generally don't like being mean to people. And I think he gets a lot of deserved flack for some of the stuff that he does. But I think apart from maybe Lando Norris and maybe Hamilton, I think Stroll is the one who gets the most personal abuse.
Yes.
And I don't like that. So criticise his driving all you want. That's fair. But I don't like the personal abuse that he gets. So what did you give our Lance?
I actually gave him a 5, believe it or not.
Hey, no, we like that.
Just because obviously, it's the same with Cadillac. He's getting the best out of the car that he can. Yeah, fair enough. 4, 7, 11 laps down, whatever. But the thing is, he's still trying.
Yeah.
But what raised him out for me was he was actually close for the points in Hungary.
Yeah.
So we know he's definitely extracting everything out of the car in Hungary. I reckon he could maybe score a couple of more points here and there, depending on, obviously, Aston Martin got a new engine upgrade coming for the Dutch Grand Prix, which does sound promising. So maybe we could see a turnaround, maybe get a point.
Yeah, I think so. And again, especially with everybody else's reliability being questionable, those weekends. I mean, I love Gasly, but I don't think anybody thought he would get a podium in Monaco.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
You know, I know that was a whole
that was
penalty
mainly
shenanigans.
strategy call, safety car.
Yeah.
He just got it right, like how Hulkenberg got it right at Silverstone last year.
Exactly.
But he made that strategy call.
Put himself in that position to be able to benefit from it in the first place. Yeah, definitely. So what have you got for Alonso then, out of 10?
I put 6.
Yay. That's
not because I favour Alonso over Stroll, just the fact Alonso has outraced Stroll in most of the races.
Yeah.
Well, when the car's working. But I think, no offence to Stroll, Alonso's more likely to get points over Stroll just because he's basically a veteran of the sport and he knows how to get every bit and ounce out of the car.
Yeah.
He'll be another one to look out for, get points.
Don't think this will be the only point it gets this year.
The other question is he going to carry on? Because obviously he did say after the summer break whether he will stay with Aston Martin or whether he's going to retire.
I did hear a rumour that apparently he's looking at re-signing a contract to the end of 2028.
I have also seen that, but I guess we're not going to find out till after the Dutch Grand Prix.
No. My instinct is he'll stay.
I'd like him to stay just because I think if they're on the uphill now and they continue, I'm not saying he'll win another championship, but he could have another year where it was like, what was it, in 22? When he had a really good year, couple of podiums for Aston Martin.
Yeah. And that's what you want,
that could be possible again.
If you're going to retire, you want to retire on a high. You don't want to leave now where everything's really crap.
And also, you don't want to leave when next year, couple of years when you're up there. That's a chance you always got to think of. It's like, do I want to leave on a high or do I want to leave on a low? But the car might be decent next year with the way it's going now.
Yeah.
Then you know you've lost that chance where you could think, damn, I could have got them podiums.
Yeah. It is always a toss-up, isn't it, with knowing what's best to do.
Yeah.
Well, we're in complete agreement there because I gave Alonso a 6 out of 10 as well. Obviously, he got that point. He looked into it a little bit, but he put himself in the position to be able to pick up the point in the first place. Not quite as many DNFs as Stroll. He DNF'd in Australia, China, Canada and Barcelona, and has been at the back of the grid and basically a lap down or a couple of laps down for most of the season. But Hungary, finishing just behind Stroll and a lap down, was not terrible. And like you've touched on, this Honda engine upgrade in Zandvoort, I think, will be really, really good. And I think everybody likes an underdog, don't they? And I am struggling with this a little bit with Aston Martin because, yes, we do. We all like an underdog and we all want to see Aston Martin do better for everybody at the team. But I am a little bit frustrated that everybody's applauding low positions and I think it's good to get behind them that they're improving. But I'm like, why was it like this in the first place? With everything they had in place, with all of the money, all of the investment, all of the staff.
But the main thing is, Adrian Newey, he is the god.
He is, but he has designed a dog before.
Yeah, but the thing is, from what I've heard, he didn't go to the Honda factory when they were building the car. Maybe if he'd have gone, he'd have got an idea and like, right, I need to do this, I need to change it, I need to do that. They could be further up the order if he'd have just gone.
They dropped the ball there, definitely.
But that's his own fault. He shot himself in the foot. He shot his team in the foot.
Yeah, and that's what I mean though. Is really they should never have been starting from a position where 13th halfway through the season looks amazing. Not when you look at some of the teams, and we'll move on to that team in a minute or two. When you look at Haas with the budget they've got, I've got things to say about the Haas and the budget. I'm very frustrated. They've got the best of everything. They should never have happened in the first place. And I'm as happy as the next person that it's improving. But I think that does have to be caveated by the fact that they shouldn't have been starting from the position they were starting in.
Thing is, you can also say the same for Williams.
Oh yeah, we're going to get onto that as well.
Years ago, they were dominating the sport, whereas now, over the last couple of years, we've seen vast improvement, but this year it's unravelled itself. Where's it gone?
Exactly. Well, funnily enough, Williams is actually the next team we're going to talk about. So, what would you give Williams as... Oh, God, I'm dreading this as a Williams scale, and this is going to break my heart. What would you give Williams' team out of 10?
I hate to say this, because I do love Williams, and I love James Howells. I think he's the right team principal for it.
Yeah.
But especially with, I'll come to the score in a minute, especially with everything that James Howell said that they're going to do to the car, they're going to make it like top running car and all that lot. You're not going to do it.
No.
It's not going to happen unless things start to change. So as much as I like Williams, I've just given him a 3. Just because we've seen Williams, we know what they can do.
Yeah.
We saw him last year, and I think that was fairly racy last year, whereas this year, nowhere. They've pretty much done an Aston Martin. They're nowhere near where they should be.
No.
I mean, yeah, they might have had 1 or 2 chances where they was in the top 10, but then it's strategy calls or unreliability.
Yeah.
We know they can do better. They're just not getting everything out that they need to get out.
Yeah, agreed. As much as it pains me, we are again in full agreement, and I've given them a 3 out of 10. Gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. They were 5th last year, and that was a year with 24 and 25 was a year where James Bowles said, these years are write-offs, these years don't matter, this is all part of the bigger picture, we are building to 2026. And then they got decent results. They finished 5th overall in 2025. And I personally got well carried away. I was really excited about it. I was like, oh my God, Mercedes engine next year as well. We're going to be up there. They're going to be like one of the top 3 or 4 teams. This is so exciting. And wow, I feel completely deflated for them. And it's awful to see it happening because, and I feel, and I know Carlos Sainz is a bit of a touchy subject at the minute for a lot of people, me included. But I'm gutted for him because he went there.
He was promised so many things.
He was promised so much, and he went there last year a little bit with his tail between his legs because there is a school of thought out there, and I'm not going to say if I agree with it or I don't agree with it because there'll be a lot of people that would have me for it in the comments. There are people out there that say that Ferrari got rid of the wrong driver. I could see, I'm not going to say which side of that argument I come down on completely, but I can see both sides. I can see the point people were making.
I agree.
I think
they did do him dirty.
They did definitely do him dirty. I can understand why, because Hamilton wanted to come there. It was like, who was going to pass that?
Thing is, it's like, who would you rather have? A driver that's had a couple of wins or a driver that could win the 8th world title?
Yeah, exactly.
I do like Sainz, but it's just a shame that,
yeah.
in all fairness, he's been shafted.
He has, and I feel like he was so hopeful last year, and there was even a few jokes bandied around about, I don't know if you saw like the lie detector thing they did with him. They said, you know, I can't remember what the wording was, but it was along the lines of, you know, how are you feeling about the fact that Ferrari got rid of you and you're doing so well at Williams? And he just laughed. And I was like, yeah, that must feel great, actually, to know that you haven't been booted out of a good team. Because he wasn't booted out of a good team because he wasn't performing. Everybody knew he was. But everybody kind of perceived Williams as a backward step. So I think last year was really encouraging. And to be where they are now, I can fully understand why he's frustrated.
The thing is, I think what the main issue is, it's a regulation change.
Yeah.
You're always going to get teams that's going to struggle with the first regulation change. And I think, to be honest, that's what's hurt Williams quite a lot. I think it's hurt quite a lot of teams for this year.
Yeah.
Especially with weight issues. Cause I think Williams is still overweight.
It's still, that's
and I think Red Bull's slightly overweight as well.
Yeah. I think it was up to recently, yeah.
The thing is, if they can get the Mercedes upgrade that Mercedes and McLaren's had, they could potentially move up the order, but I think it's all the aero as well that needs sorting.
The chassis needs an absolute
the chassis needs sorting, the aero needs sorting. Because I think, if I remember rightly, I think they failed the crash test 3 times.
They did. And that's why they didn't turn up for the Barcelona shakedown. And that really
that would have been crucial if I had, because maybe, yeah, fair enough, it's only for the shakedown, but maybe that 1 or 2 extra days could have helped tweak the car.
Yeah. I think the positives are the car's reliable. It's more reliable than some of the others on the grid.
Oh, yeah.
But there's just this constant feeling of them playing catch-up to all the other teams.
They just haven't got the oomph to get up there. I mean, yeah, I think, if I remember rightly, I think we have had Albon and Sainz in the top 10 for qualifying, which is fine, but the cars are a lot lighter in qualifying. The tyres, obviously, they'll be on softs, so they'll be on the quickest one. Race-wise, it's a long game. You need the right strategy. You've got to make the right tyre calls. I think that's where the issue is. They got the short game. Sprint race will probably be up there. I think we have seen in sprint race, they have been up there, but it's mainly the races. Yeah,
I think both of them have been out in quali 1 far too often. And then, you know, it's an uphill struggle all the way on race day then, isn't it? And I know we're hearing James Vowles saying, well, you know, you've done the best you can. It's the car. And I feel like he's just kind of repeating that every weekend of like, well, you know, you're doing the best you can and it's the car. And I'm like, yeah, but that buck stops with you. And I know he's very aware of that. And I love James Vowles. I think he's great. But I don't know. Albon
Has he
made it.
lost his way a bit?
I don't
Because he was
know.
so confident until this regulation changed, and it sort of just put a down on him. And he's maybe thinking, "What can I do?"
I did hear, and I can't remember who it was that said it. In fact, I read about it earlier in the year, and it was somebody that had worked with James Vowles, and they said that he's very, very good with his words. He's very good at talking to you and with the words he selects. And he said that quite often he would go into a meeting with James Vowles and say, right, this is the issue. This is what I need you to solve. He said, and you'd sit there with him for 10 minutes and you'd have a really lovely conversation, and he was very soothing and he would make you feel great. And you'd walk out the meeting 10 minutes later feeling like, oh, brilliant, and realise he'd never actually addressed the problem.
Yeah.
And I can see that a little bit of like, let's smooth everything over and
Make it not like seem it as bad as it is.
But it is as bad as it is. And I think really I believe they brought upgrades to Hungary, didn't they?
I think so, yeah. But did we see any change?
No, not really.
Besides science getting in the way.
Oh, God. We'll get to that. But yeah, 2026 for Williams, really, it's just a write-off, isn't it? And it's really...
We can actually officially say this is a write-off for Williams.
Yeah.
Not like the previous years where they was actually doing all right.
But what worries me more is, well, I think we've all accepted this year's a write-off, but what are we building towards next year?
And the other issue is sponsors.
Yeah.
Are the sponsors going to stay with them, or who are they going to bring?
Yeah.
Unless they start to turn something around and start getting a few points here and there, sponsors are going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously with a team with such big success and heritage, you don't want them to go.
No. I mean, they've been close to it a few times, haven't they?
Yes.
And we don't want that situation again. But I do think that it's maybe a little bit early to start talking about 2027, but I think as we get into the second half of the season, I think James Vowles needs to be quite vocal about what they're looking at doing in 2027. So when it comes to our Williams drivers, what mark would you give Albon out of 10?
6.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I've not really focused on the Williams boys this year. But like I said, for all the other drivers, they're getting what they can out of the car.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know the car's not as great as it has been in previous years. But I think, if I remember rightly, he has had a couple of chances where he could have been in the points, but strategy calls obviously weren't correct. Yeah, I haven't really got much to say about Albon, but I do think he's probably one step ahead of Sainz at the minute.
Oh, right. Do you think?
In race pace. Think about it this way, Albon's been at Williams for? Quite a while. So
a long time.
He's basically the veteran of Williams now.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously you got Sainz, who obviously he's not a rookie, but he's classed as a rookie for Williams because he's only been there 2 years. So it's mainly most of the time always the driver that's been there longer is ahead of the driver that's been there not so long.
Yeah. I've been a little bit harsher and I've given Albon a 5. Obviously he's struggling because who wouldn't? The car isn't there. He's been more vocal this year. In fact, in my household, there is the Albonism comes out now and again because for some reason my 2 youngest sons were very amused by when he came into pits that day and went terrible like a teacher. So that is a quote that's now gets banded around the house. At the end of the day, he's a good driver in a terrible car, and another one that's been sold a dream. He's been slogging his guts out at Williams for years now. He recently said something that I feel like Alex picks his words carefully sometimes, and I don't always think that what he says you can take quite at face value. And I was interested in this little quote that he said. He said, "This is the biggest effort I've seen to fix a car in a while." And I'm like, is that praise or is that sarcasm? Is that him kind of saying...
You can see it in both ways.
Yeah, is it him kind of saying, well... I couldn't quite make out whether he was being a little bit dry and a little bit sarcastic or whether it was genuine praise for the team.
Yeah.
I think that could have gone either way. I mean, for Alex, I think qualifying is his biggest issue because when we look at the qualifying head-to-head, in the sprint, Sainz has out-qualified him all 4 times. And in the main race, the qualifying head-to-head is 8 to Sainz and 3 to Alex.
Yeah.
So I think getting that 1 lap pace out of the Williams is the biggest issue that Alex has got at the moment. But I just feel sorry for him. I really do. So what about Carlos then? What mark have you given him? And I'd be interested to see if you've gone higher or lower than Alex.
5.
5.
Just because, same again, getting what he can out of the car, but he's not with it.
No.
I think he's now realised, obviously, I hope he hasn't made the wrong choice, but I think he's now realised that maybe the team's not as good as what they say they are, or have been, especially with how persuasive James Fowles can be. Maybe he's realised he's made a mistake, but then the thing is, Williams was really the only option he could have gone to carry on in F1.
Oh, well, I think there was, because for a long time in my head, I was thinking that he was either going to go to Williams or Alpine, but I believe it was actually Audi, not Alpine. I think
Yeah,
I
because I think
misremembered
once
that.
he's supposed to be in a deal,
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
supposed to have been with Audi.
from what I remember, it was a case of that if he went to Audi, he would probably get more instant results, or this was the way he was looking at it. Whereas Williams, he always knew was a long-term plan.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that I don't think he'll leave. This rumour that's going around of him going elsewhere, I don't think he will, because I think he signed with Williams knowing it was a long-term plan. And I think that he's just they've been too generous with their vision for 2026.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he might have made the right call. We don't know.
Well, yeah, but if he is looking at the long term, he could turn around in a couple of years' time and go, well, look at that. I made the right call.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a driver that isn't shy of going and driving for a different team. He's done it a few times.
Yeah.
But he could end up in that trap that Alonso's ended up in a few times if he leaves somewhere and then they get good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a difficult one.
Obviously, if he is in it for the long term, because he is a good driver, maybe Williams might get better. And maybe then he can prove all of us wrong and be like, hey, I did make the right choice in the end.
Yeah.
We'll
I wouldn't like to say at the minute, I don't know if it's the right choice or not. I would like to believe that it was, but I'm not convinced.
Maybe you could say it's half and half. Maybe it was, just then we know we got him for the long term. But obviously, there was a thing saying he could have had a year at Mercedes.
Yeah, again, it's previous.
Look what he could have done at Mercedes.
Yeah.
He could potentially have been championship leader.
Yeah. But I think also there's a lot of chat similar to that around Verstappen, because he was heavily rumoured, and I think it did get quite near to him going to Mercedes last year. I think you've heard me moan about several times. It was my wild card for last year, and it almost came in. I don't know, maybe Verstappen's kicking himself a bit now. He could have been up against either George, who I don't think he would have struggled to beat this year with George's form.
I think he would have.
Or to watch him go against Antonelli, I think would have been absolute total cinema.
Basically, Rosberg Hamilton.
Yeah.
Hopefully in a cleaner way.
Hopefully. But yeah, getting back to Carlos, again, I've also given him a 5 out of 10. The impression I get of him at the minute is he's unhappy. I know he knows he's not in a Ferrari, and I know he knew that last year, but in some ways he's still driving as though he thinks he's in the Ferrari, and that means that he's become a bit of a liability. He's getting in people's way. The Hungary incident with Piastri.
Yeah.
So for me, it was twofold. One was that a mistake happened like that in the first place, but then he made it worse by he still wouldn't let him past. And then just to make it even worse, he then tripled down on it by saying, well, I didn't do anything wrong, effectively. And
I think there's blue flags, but the thing is, the blue flags also show up on your steering wheel.
Yeah.
So he can't say he hasn't done it wrong when he can clearly see that it's in front of him.
Yeah. And I just feel like he's completely miserable and jaded, and it's getting to him.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. He wouldn't have made any difference to Piastri anyway, because obviously he had an issue. But
we didn't know that at the time.
He's been in the sport long enough to know as soon as there's a blue flag, you move out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that must be hard.
I mean, even if you're fighting the person in front of you, you both have to concede and move out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think the summer break's come at the perfect time for Carlos, and I hope he's a bit of a reset over the summer break, comes back with a little bit more of a can-do attitude rather than
optimism.
Rather than I'm sick to death of this, which I completely understand he is, but positivity going forward. Right, so moving on then, we'll have a little look at Audi. What mark have you given them out of 10? Because I'm really interested in this one as well.
As much as I like Audi, because I'm a huge Hulkenberg fan, and I'm becoming a Bortoleto fan, I've given them a 6.
Ooh.
I would give them higher, but reliability issues, again.
Yeah.
We know the car can get in the top 10. We know that. We've seen it. We've seen it from both drivers. They are more than capable of getting in the top 10. It is the reliability and the strategy.
Yeah.
They're the two main issues for Audi at the minute. But besides that, I think they've had a really good start of the season, especially for a new team. Yet they're not running Audi engines yet, because they're still in contact with Ferrari, I believe. But I think it'll be from 28 onwards, they will be running Audi engines, so that will be quite interesting to see.
It will, and I hope it's a positive move and not a backward move. I've actually been a little bit kinder, and I've given them 7.5 out of 10. And I think it is a case of they have got speed, they have got pace, but they're just a fragile car.
Oh yeah.
There's the reliability is a bit of a joke, and the starts are terrible as well. They're losing places off the grid every time. I think they got off to a rocky start because we obviously had that change in leadership. Jonathan Wheatley arrived and went, but I'm absolutely loving having Alan McNish on board because I adore Alan McNish anyway. I think he's great.
Alan McNish is a legend.
It absolutely is. He's not afraid to get stuck in. He's not about the sound bites and saying the right thing. He says it like it is. I think he's really good, strong leadership for that team. I think it's an interesting dynamic with the two drivers because you've kind of got the old boy in Hulkenberg, no disrespect, Nika, but the older, more experienced hand. Then you've got Gabby, who came up last year as a rookie, and I picked him last year really although I think all the rookies did amazing.
Oh yeah.
He was like my favourite rookie. I can't see a ceiling for him. I can see him honing his craft and really, really going all the way. I don't know, that for me, he's just got that little bit, that star quality. And I know he's quiet and people don't see a lot of him and they don't talk about him as much, and everybody's very focused on Antonelli because he was the rookie last year and look at what he's done. But I think that Bortoletto is doing well, I mean, we'll get onto the drivers in a minute, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. But yeah, that's Alan McNish. Love him to bits. Think he's brilliant. I think he's been so good for that team. And I mean, he's so positive. When they've asked him about it, he said, "Well, our performance is better than we expected," and he's always bringing that positivity. And I think that's had a good
the
effect.
massive advantage of that is, I was gutted when Wheatley left because he was a good team principal. I think they could have gone far, but with Alan McNish, he knows what he's talking about. Fair enough, it's his first time running as a team principal, but he's driven loads of cars. He's a multiple winner.
Yeah, he knows what needs to be
he'll
done.
Understand the drivers.
Yeah.
So he'll be able to work with the drivers. He knows what they're up against.
Yeah.
He will know how to get the team running properly and get them to both work as a team.
Yeah.
So I think Alan McNish stepping in was a brilliant idea.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, it's conjectured, but there was a lot of talk about whether Jonathan Wheatley's way of doing things didn't gel well with Binotto's way of doing things, and that they couldn't find a common ground. And I think that maybe Alan McNish is more suited to getting on with Binotto on a professional level, perhaps. But yeah, it's definitely done the team good. So when it comes to the individual drivers, what mark have you got for Hulkenberg?
For Hulkenberg, I have, as much as I love Hulkenberg, I put him as a 6. Just because he has been unlucky with reliability. There's been a couple of times he could have gotten into a points, and yes, he finally has scored points now, where he should at least easily be on 15, 20 points by now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he might be an old boy, but he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
He knows what he's doing. So he's been unlucky so many times for so many different teams. He'd have had a few more podiums by now.
Yeah.
But I do think having Hulkenberg in at Audi is the right choice because you've got an experienced driver who can then teach Bortoletto, which obviously, as we've seen, he's getting there.
Yeah.
But Hulkenberg, I can see him lasting a couple more years. I hope to see him for a few more years because he's just a driver that I'd just quite happily talk to all the time. But he just seems like a chill driver. He never gets mad. There's been a couple of radio messages going, "Oh, for God's sake, the car's broken again." But you're going to be like that. But he doesn't lash out or anything. He's just quite a chill guy.
Yeah.
He's quite chill.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that, definitely. Yeah, Hulkenberg, I've given a 7 out of 10 because I think that his experience is paying dividends in the team, but he has only got 2 points to Bortoletto's 10. It is difficult to judge a little bit because he's had more DNFs as well.
Yeah.
For reliability. But if you actually look in qualifying, the average time delta between them is 0.0495. So they're very, very close in qualifying. And I think the unfortunate thing for both of them as well, especially for Hulkenberg, is they've had a lot of 11th places. They always see just on the brink of the points. It's happened to both of them twice that they've finished in 11th, and I think that is good in that it shows like you know a little bit of a nudge, and you're going to be regularly in the points. But it's also frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you fought your way up and you've done everything you can, and you might as well have finished 22nd in a way because you're not getting any more points for 11th than you're getting for 22nd.
Yeah.
So that is frustrating. And I do think he is giving it his all. And I think, like I touched on before, I think it's an interesting dynamic between like the old hand and the new blood. And I think it's good for Bortoletto. And if he's a smart boy, he'll be gleaning as much info as he can on the way that Hulkenberg
Them two are
approaches.
definitely the right pairing for a team. I would definitely say them two are like probably the best pairing on the grid.
Yeah,
for
I think
for a
that
team.
they can both learn so much from each other.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that Nico's he doesn't come across to me as the kind of guy that like you can't teach me anything. I think he will be learning just as much as Bortoletto is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bortoletto. What's your mark for Bortoletto then, Jake?
Same score, 6.
Interesting.
Obviously, he's been very close to the points quite a few times. Obviously, he does have points.
Yeah.
Definitely would have had more, but it's just finding that sweet spot. As we know, the team are there. It's just strategy calls.
Yeah.
Reliability issues, obviously crashes or contact. He'll get a few more points this year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely get out of that 11th place. I've actually given him half a point more than Hulkenberg, and I've given him a 7.5 out of 10. I'm a little bit of a fangirl of Gabriel. I think he's doing great things. Looking at the head-to-head and qualifying between the two of them, in the sprint, it's 2-all, and in the main race, it's 6-5 to Hulkenberg. So for me, for Bortoletto to be up to that standard and keeping up with Hulkenberg, I think with the level of experience he's got, and in a new team with reliability issues, he just gets that extra half a point from me. But I think he's doing amazing things, and like we've said, I think they're a really great pairing.
Oh yeah.
Right, moving on to Haas, and I'm going to warn you now that when it comes to marks out of 10 for Haas, I've cheated slightly, but we'll get to that. I'm interested to see what your mark out of 10 will be.
Mine's 6.
Okay.
Just because we know the car's quick, we know they can get into the points. So again, reliability, strategy issues, unlucky some races.
Yeah.
We know they can do it. They need that extra push.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree with everything you've said. I sat and agonised over the mark for Haas, and I tried to average these two, and I felt like it didn't reflect what I really thought. And this is where I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit about Haas, because I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about this. As usual with Haas, we saw a great start to the season.
Oh yeah.
A few races in, Ollie was like sitting fourth in the championship or something crazy like that. But it's always the same story with Haas. Slow to develop the car and completely financially strapped. And I completely hold Gene Haas responsible for this, because he will not put his hand in his pocket for his F1 team. And I know this is something that Gunther Steiner talked about quite a lot in his book, and he's talked about it in interviews, that he was always going cap in hand to Gene Haas and begging for more money, to be told, you don't need that. And again, even Io Komatsu has said he feels like, and this is a quote of his, that he's fighting with both hands tied behind his back, because there's only so much they can do with what they've got. If somebody won't fund them, if somebody won't put that money in, to me, I'm like, why does he not sell the team? Let somebody take over that's going to put that investment in there.
Yeah.
Because they've got everything else they need. They've got a great team. They've got a great team principal. They've got two really, really good drivers. All the ingredients are there to make a really, really good team that could make it well up the grid, snapping at the heels of the top four. But Gene Haas won't put his hand in his pocket. So for that reason, I've given Haas a 5 out of 10 for the results that they've got averaged over the course of the season so far, but 10 out of 10 for effort. Because I think everybody else in that team is giving 110%, and they're fighting an uphill battle because the financial investment isn't there. And I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Gene Haas, when Haas debuted, they got points in the first race. So if Gene Haas had put his hands in his pocket and got more money out, they could have been further up that order.
Yeah, and it's the same
Especially
every
with
year.
Grosjean in the team at that time, who was a decent driver.
Yeah.
Obviously, did cause a few crashes, but he was a decent driver, along with, I think it was K-Mag at that point.
Yeah.
Magnussen. 2 decent drivers, they could have been further up there. So I completely agree with you for this year. If they've had that little bit more money, I would say they'll probably sit top 5, maybe top 4.
Yeah. They could have kept up that momentum they had at the beginning of the season, where they were sitting top of the midfield.
Yeah.
But now everybody else has had extra money pumped in and extra development and extra upgrades, and Haas is having to make do with what they started season with. And that's just a ridiculously uneven playing field then.
It defeats the object. You're in F1, you're constantly developing the car, getting new upgrades. You don't just make a car, do 1 or 2 upgrades, and yeah, that's it for the year. We'll just go on to next year, where you say, oh yeah, we're going to make the car for next year, but you basically following the exact same process.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the famous quote in F1, isn't it? If you're staying still, you're going backwards.
I think it's a continuous thing with Haas. I mean, yeah, they have gotten better over the years, but a bit more money, they could be even better.
Yeah. I'm so frustrated by it. I mean, obviously, I'm not privy to the reasons why, and there might be perfectly legitimate reasons why, but I can't imagine what they could be. Because to me, it just seems such a waste of everybody's potential, everybody's hard work. And it's kind of almost like the reverse of Aston Martin in that they've got all the money at their disposal and can't string it together. And that's frustrating and demoralising. And then Haas has got the, pardon my French, but they've got the shit together, but there's no money.
Yeah. Thing is, yeah, fair enough, Gene Haas owns teams like IndyCar and all that lot. But the thing is, if he put as much effort into IndyCar, why can't he do the same for F1? Which is, for me, not slating IndyCar, F1 is a higher end sport than IndyCar.
I think that's a very contentious view, and you're going to get dragged in the comments for that. But
well, I mean, yeah, obviously, IndyCar is a high end sport, but F1, I've always seen F1 as the pinnacle of motorsport.
But I think that's quite a European thing, isn't it? That we've kind of grown up with F1, whereas we've not always had the access to IndyCar. But I do feel like Gene Haas's focus is very much over the pond, and not so much here. It's almost like a side project, and that's just got to be so frustrating. I mean, everybody. It's not just the drivers' careers, is it? It's all of the staff, all of the team members have got careers and want to make career progression. And they've hit the ceiling, and that's it, guys. That's all the money for the year. Just suck it up and do the best you can. So yeah, that's my little rant over. So we'll have a look then at the poor Haas drivers and give them their marks for how well they're doing. What do you think of Behrman this year?
I've given him a 7, just because I think he's getting more out of the car than he should. Obviously, he's had an amazing start to the season.
Definitely.
Just obviously, unfortunately, not being able to carry it over, but we know he has got the pace. He can do it. It's just maybe the car's not suited to certain tracks. Obviously, we have seen, like in Australia, he was running quite well. Obviously, some other tracks, he's not been quite there, but that's the same for every team. But no, I think he could score a couple of more points yet throughout the season.
Yeah, bit of clever strategy, a bit of luck.
Yeah, I mean, but I think he's young. So he's got years. He's got years and years and years in F1 yet. So we can still see the best of him yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Full agreement. I've given Behrman a 7 out of 10. I do feel for him because I know there was a lot of chat at the beginning of the year that everybody was speculating, if Hamilton has another bad year, is he going to go? Because then Behrman can move up to Ferrari. That's clearly not going to happen now. Nor would we want it to. But the downside for Ollie is that leaves him in a bit of a limbo because he has to just kind of sit there at Haas. Well, he doesn't have to sit there at Haas, but like we say, until the silly season's over and all the moves have been made, we don't really know what could happen there. I think he had a great start. I was really singing his praises at the beginning of the season. He was taking that car and doing incredible things with it. But as we've touched on, the Haas now has just gone completely off the boil. There's a total lack of rear downforce, so neither driver feels like they can trust the car, and it's just dead slow. It's so slow. And so all I can say about Behrman is he's done the best he can. He's continuing to do the best he can, but I just feel sorry for him because I feel like he's just putting the slog in every weekend and seeing nothing for it.
Yep.
So looking at Ocon then, what would you give Esty Bestie for this year?
A 6. Just because, he's getting everything he can, but I do think Behrman has a slight advantage over him. I think Ocon has been in front of Behrman a couple of times, but I do think he's struggling more with how the car is this year than last year.
Yeah, Ocon I've given a 5 out of 10, which I feel bad doing because I do like Esty. I think he's pretty cool. I think he's struggled more with the new regulations than Behrman has. He's not often getting into Q2, and it's a shame because I feel like this was his last chance to shine, and it's passing him by. And I think a lot of it is to do with the new regs. He's just struggling to get a handle on it. When you look at the qualifying head-to-head, in the sprint, it's 3-1 to Behrman, and in the main race, it's 8-3 to Behrman.
Yeah.
So I think he must feel quite disheartened because Ollie's still seen as a bit of a newcomer, and Esteban is a bit of an old hand. But
they're putting all the focus on Ollie than they are with Ocon.
Yeah, I think, and they're going to do because Ocon is struggling so badly with this car that I don't think they've really got a lot of choice. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of talk this is going to be his last year, and I think that's such a shame if it is, because I think he has more potential than we've really seen.
Yeah.
So, what's your mark out of 10 for Alpine so far this year?
I'm changing them in my head, that's why. I'll say 7.
Okay.
Just because we've seen Alpine can get in the points, and they can get quite high in the points. I think there's 1 or 2 reliabilities, strategy goals, but I do think Alpine could finish quite high in the constructors. Obviously not top 4, but they could finish 5th in the constructors if they carry on the work and keep bringing the upgrades, because I've seen they have brought in some upgrades which has definitely worked for them.
Yeah.
And it has favoured both drivers.
Maybe I've been a bit overgenerous then, because I've given Alpine a 9 out of 10. They were actually my prediction to finish 5th overall this year. And I did actually even play with the idea that if Red Bull were as bad as I thought they were going to be, they could even maybe finish 4th. But I think that's very likely now.
You never know.
True, you don't know, because you don't know. There's always a bit of a flip around after summer break. Obviously, they're much better than last year. Last year was pitiful. And some of that's going to be down to the Mercedes power unit they've got now. But yeah, absolutely huge improvement. And I don't want to give any credit to Briatore, because I just don't want to, because I don't like him and I don't think he's got any place in the sport. And if you want to come after me in the comments for that, you can do. But he was banned from the sport for a reason. And I personally, it's my opinion, don't think he should have come back. But the team has improved. Colapinto has definitely improved of late, and we've actually got parity in that team now, as in Gasly and Colapinto have both got the same spec of car.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen since that happened that there's definitely more equality in their results. Yeah, I think they've done really well. Gasly's actually scored points in 8 out of 11 races, and they were touching on the drivers a bit there, but they are currently in a bit of a development race with Racing Bulls, because Alpine was sitting comfortably 5th, and then Racing Bulls were catching, and now they've passed Alpine, because the last few races Alpine have gone quite off the boil.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for 2 things. I'm hoping that will kind of even out a little bit, and we'll have that good midfield battle between the Racing Bulls and Alpine as the rest of the year unfolds. I'm also looking forward to next year. I mean, they've got the Gucci sponsorship next year, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that is something to look forward to, because the thing is, are we going to see a black, gold and red livery, or a bit of green in there as well?
Yeah, I'm quite excited about the livery, but I'm also cautious, because I remember being a bit excited that, like, oh, we're getting a new team on the grid this year. Let's see what, like, really amazing livery we're going to get with Cadillac. Let's hope it's something really out there. Are we going to get Yellowback since first time since Jordan? Are we going to get, we're going to get this? And it was black and white, and I kind of went, oh.
Yeah.
It has grown on me, admittedly, as I've seen it on track. It has grown on me, but initially I was quite disappointed. It's like, well, black and white, okay. So yeah, on a purely superficial level, quite looking forward to the Gucci. Yeah,
it'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the merch is going to be another thing as well.
That's true.
That merch is going to be expensive.
Not that you're a fan in any way of F1 merch and like the t-shirts and the caps or anything, do you?
Yeah, you're going to have to say for that, but yeah, I think the merch is definitely going to be something to look out for. It's not going to be something you walk past and be like, yeah, it's standard. It's going to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
It's going to be right there in your face.
Yeah, I think it'll look quite cool. So I do hope they utilise that and do.
I do think the livery will possibly be the best one next year.
Could be.
It will be the one that stands out.
Yeah.
They'll want to stand out, because they're like, hey, look at me, we're Gucci, come buy our stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
That's the point of it, yeah. I mean, this year, I still say, and I say it every race weekend when I look at it, I still think Haas has the nicest livery for my personal taste. Even though I know I've said, like, oh, black and white. But there's something about the placement of the GR on it, and the red highlight. I think it looks great.
Suits the car.
It's very classy looking. But yeah, I know it's kind of it's a bit superficial really, but I do get quite excited by liveries, and I think it's because in the F1 fans' mind, it's a little bit like it's like a marker point, isn't it, between the end of one season and the beginning of the next. You're like, let's look at the liveries, let's see what we're going to be looking at for the season. So it kind of like a part of your countdown to the start of the new season.
Yeah.
So looking at the Alpine drivers, Pierre Gasly, and while I've given him a 9 out of 10 because I think he deserves a 9 out of 10. I think he's done amazing things this year. His tenacity, that dog with a bone, I'm not giving up, is really admirable. Obviously, he got that podium in Monaco, and I feel desperately sorry for him that he didn't get his moment to stand on the podium in Monaco because of the whole debacle with the penalties and everything else. And good on Alpine for going and fighting his corner that he did get that podium in the end. So yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about Pierre. Really, he's just an absolute trier. I think he's a very, very talented driver, and I think he's given 110% all season.
I have actually changed my marking now because like I have realised a couple of bits. But yeah, I'd say 9 as well.
Hmm.
He very rarely makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Which is a key thing in F1. And he got a podium in a car which wouldn't normally potentially get a podium.
No.
Because he's working well with the car. There's been a couple of races where he's been off, but most of the time he's running well near the top 10.
Yeah.
Running with the likes of Racing Bulls and Audi when they're running crap on the day. Can't fault him. Yeah, I mean, he never really complains. He just keeps his head down, try and get the results that he wants to get. To be honest, Scalzi has always been that one driver that'll just get on with it, doesn't really moan, and he will get the results that he wants to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll definitely be interesting after the summer break to see what happens with Alpine and Racing Bulls.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that as much as I'm enjoying seeing Racing Bulls doing what they're doing, I feel like they've got the edge over Alpine at the minute, that the qualifying seems to have gone off a little bit for Alpine. So hopefully with some more upgrades, that should get better. So this is an interesting one, I think, because I don't think anybody could really disagree with the Gasly one, but what have you given Colapinto? And why?
For Colapinto, I like Colapinto. I know a lot of people will disagree with me.
Not me.
But to be honest, I'll give him the same mark.
Really?
Yeah, because we have gone from seeing him scoring no points to now he's scoring points. Maybe not consistently, but I think if we go back to China, he was fending off the top teams.
Yeah.
Because I think he was in P4 at one point, and he was defending the top teams. Who would have thought someone like Colapinto, who's only been in the sport officially for 2 years, that he would hold off the top drivers?
Yeah.
He's consistent. When he's got his head in the game, he's consistent.
Yeah.
And we know he can get points. I would say him and Gasly are pretty much on par. And with them both having the exact same car, them two are going to be a threat.
Yeah.
They'll be a threat to Racing Bulls. Hopefully, if they can get the upgrades in, they will be a huge threat. Yeah. And I do think that they both gelled well as teammates, because obviously we've seen them, they've had to swap places a couple of times. They don't really complain about it.
No.
They can race each other.
Yeah. And they race cleanly.
Yeah, and they race clean. So I reckon, I know Colapinto's had quite a bit of hate. I reckon he'll go far.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for saying that I do like Franco, which I really do, I've been a bit meaner and I only gave him a 7 out of 10. And I'm probably feeling that's a bit mean now. I think Colapinto's a classic example of both positive and negative recency effect, in that he had that stint in Williams and everybody was like, oh, he's amazing. He's absolutely fantastic. He's the next big thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously he went through a stage last year in that Alpine that was an absolute mess, where he got the nickname Crasher Pinto, didn't he?
It wasn't suited for him.
No. And he really, really did struggle. And people immediately then forgot that talent and that promise that he'd shown in the Williams. And I feel like people were very hard on him. They didn't make allowances for the fact that it was a new team, the car was atrocious, and we weren't really seeing what he could do. And I think even at the beginning of this season, when Gasly had the better car, people were a bit kinder to Franco than they had been, because he was doing okay. But I think the big turning point has been having that parity with them both having the same car, and now we're seeing the Franco from Williams again.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? I'm actually going to change my grade, and I'm going to go for an 8 out of 10, because I'm remembering a couple of things from during the year. His reactions on the Australian grid when Lawson had stalled in front of him were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people talk about Hadjar in the tunnel at Monaco, and that was amazing. And to me, that's on a par with that. And then at Spa, that double overtake that he pulled.
Wow, yeah, that double overtake
incredible.
was mental.
It was just like, well, you two are having a fight. You've opened the door, and I'm off through it. Thank you very much.
I mean, watching that reminded me of when it was Schumacher and Hakkinen, when that was overtaking someone, and one was on the outside, one was the inside, and Hakkinen just overtook both of them.
Yeah.
It sort of reminded me of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're starting to see that raw talent again now, and I'm really, really happy for him, and I'm just hoping that the Alpine, this slight off the boil that we've seen in the last couple of races with the car. And it's definitely the car, because it's not like Gasly's doing really well and Colapinto isn't, or the reverse.
Yeah.
They've both dropped down the order. I'm just hoping that now we're getting a little bit like
the
us,
higher
and
end
this
of
is
the
the
grid,
plateau.
and we're looking at
for
Racing
Alpine,
Bulls.
and Racing Bulls are just
And
going to
for
beat
Racing
them now.
Bulls,
We want
I'm
that
not sure if
scrap
I've been
in
a
the
little bit
midfield.
generous or not, but I've given them a 9 out of 10. And that being because they're now top of the midfield in 5th, as opposed to Hungary. Because Alpine, I feel like, have dropped away a little bit, as I've said. I think what they've got going from it is they've got 2 really, really good drivers, and we'll get onto the drivers in a bit. I think one of their strengths has been that every time they've brought in an update, it's worked. They've never had to take it out or revise it. It's just worked. I mean, they did have a tough start to the year, and they've obviously got the new Red Bull power unit in there, which was a bit of an unknown quantity. And I think it was Miami where they didn't get very good results. Something just didn't come together from that weekend. I think it was, did Lawson's gearbox fail? I believe it was. But we've had since then lots of double point finishes, and I think that there's every chance that they'll finish 5th in the constructors. But whether we'll see them start to break into the top 4 at all next year, or even at the end of this season, I don't know. I don't know if there's probably just a little bit of a ceiling for Racing Bulls. What is the points gap at the moment? Yeah, 111 points is pretty steep between Racing Bulls and Red Bull.
Well, then the thing is, you never know.
No, true.
As we know from Red Bull at the minute, the car's good, but not good.
No.
Obviously, we've seen Verstappen having issues. Hadjar had his fair share of issues. But if Racing Bulls carry on as the way they are and keep progressing, you never know, they could catch up. It's a big ask.
It is.
But nothing's impossible.
But their reliability is better than Racing Bulls.
Oh, yeah. By far.
Better than,
Red Bull, yeah, by far.
Yeah. So, yeah, certainly, even if they don't overtake, I think that they'll close that gap to Red Bull.
Yeah.
So, what did you give them out of 10?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, to be fair. I do think so far this year, Racing Bulls is the best team for me so far with improvements. Obviously, they're the sister team to Red Bull, and they've not always been good, but obviously they've been all right over the last few years, but it does look like this year they've got the red down. The car's working well. Dare I say they're working better than Red Bull? Yeah, I don't think they've really had any engine issues so far as Red Bull has. But yeah, I do think if Racing Bulls carry on and Red Bull keep having issues, they could catch up. He's a big ass, but they could catch up.
That could be really awkward, really, couldn't it?
Racing Bulls has by far impressed me the most so far this year.
Yeah. That will leave some questions to be answered at Red Bull if that does happen, because Red Bull is supposed to be the senior team and Racing Bulls is the junior team.
I think I have heard that Racing Bulls is being sold.
Oh, I've not heard that.
I think I heard it about a few months ago that Red Bull will be parting ways with Racing Bulls, and they will be sold to another team or another owner.
Oh, interesting.
And could be rebranded.
I actually think if this progress continues, that's the best thing, because the ceiling, like I said, the ceiling will be Red Bull, and nobody at Red Bull is going to want Racing Bulls to do better than Red Bull. So
yeah, they're not going to want a Red Bull 0.2.
No, exactly. So I think for the team, that's probably a good move. So when it comes to the drivers, then, what have you given Liam Lawson?
For Liam Lawson, I have given him an 8.
Okay.
No, to be fair, 8 or 9, because I can't fault him at the minute. I mean, he's driving the wheels off that car.
Yeah.
He's getting really good results, and he can actually race fair most of the time. There has been a few bangs of wheels, but that's sport. I think Lawson has definitely come a long way from last year. Obviously, when he was with Red Bull, they didn't really give him a chance, whereas now he's now being given that chance to shine. He can now show what he's got. He can race.
Yeah.
He can race.
I feel like he took a bit of time to get his feet back under the table when he went back to Racing Bulls. Now he has.
With the progress of Racing Bulls, dare I say, if they have a decent race, they could get a podium.
Yeah.
If they get the strategy calls right, and depending on what race it is, and obviously tyre and everything, I think Racing Bulls can easily get a podium.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things I've enjoyed about this year, for all that we've had the criticisms of the regulations, is that the podium is never predictable.
No.
We've never really, I don't think we've had the same podium twice, have we?
I don't think so.
No, I think it's been a different podium every time.
And I like that. And I think that's good for the sport because I think a lot of us thought coming into this season that it was just going to be a yawn fest of Mercedes 1-2 and everything.
Yeah, Mercedes, McLaren.
Yeah.
Because obviously we thought McLaren would have benefited.
Yeah.
But obviously that's another story for another time.
It is. Well, I gave Lawson initially an 8 out of 10, then I crossed it out and gave him a 9 because I think he actually deserves it. I think he's done incredible, like you said, he's done incredible things this year. He's really bounced back. I think he's showing a lot more poise now. It's like his racing IQ's gone up a few notches and he's anticipating better.
I think also, just to add on to that, he's more mature now.
Yeah, it's like a
He's a lot more
thing.
mature now from when he first joined Racing Bulls. It was a bit of, basically get the hell
Flipping
out of
off
my way.
Perez,
sort of
yeah.
I'm bigger than you and all that lot. And obviously going to Red Bull didn't do him any favours, but maybe it made him realise when he got dropped.
Yeah.
Hopefully that made him realising, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be like that. Maybe I should just be my own person, which obviously he has done now. And I will have to say, and I am really impressed with Lawson so far.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my drivers of the year, and that was not on my bingo card coming into this year. I think you do occasionally still see that little bit of aggression from him, that little bit of hot-headedness.
You're going to see that from every F1
You
driver.
are, and he's got it under control now. He's definitely...
Oh, yeah, he's a lot more calmer and more calculated than he was before. Yeah, sometimes he still moans over the radio, but who doesn't?
Yeah. I do think as well, they're having a competitive teammate who is almost on the same level has done him a lot of good.
Yeah, and near enough the same age as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes being near enough the same age, you both tend to gel better because you might both like the same things and all that. You're similar from like F2 then to F1. You sort of know each other, whereas sometimes when it's with an older person like Nico, it could be a bit intimidating, but obviously not from his side because he works well with Bortoleto. But I think that is also a big factor as well. Similar age tend to get along a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking of his teammate then, Arvid Lindblad, what mark have you given Arvid?
9. I mean, Lindblad has definitely put his cards on the table. He ain't here to mess about. He's there to get points, and if he can, he'll get a podium. It's just actually so nice to see two teammates who respect each other and that can actually race without contact. I mean, I think the last 2 races, they were side by side, and that's what you want in F1.
It is.
You want that. You don't want team orders. You just want to let them race. And you know what? Hats off for the team for not bringing in team orders for that, because that's what we want. That is what F1 is all about. Exactly. But yeah, Lindblad, he is one to look out for. He will be one that, he'll be a champion.
Yeah, given the right opportunities, he could be a world champion.
Yeah. He will be one to watch out for. I mean, to be fair, both drivers are.
Yeah.
They're both young. They're both hot-headed, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And they both got the drive. They have the car.
Yeah.
The car is what they need. They just got to keep pushing forward, pick up on other people's mistakes, start nailing the starts. I'd like to say by the end of the season, at least a podium.
Yeah.
I could possibly see a podium.
Absolutely. I've heard 1 or 2 rumours that Liam might lose his seat at the end of this year because, not through any fault of his own, but just because of the way things might move around. And I really think that would be such a shame.
I think if that does happen, they are ballsed up big time.
Yeah.
Because they've now got, I know I've already said we've got a best pairing. Them two are a really good pairing.
Yeah, I think so.
But if they do happen to move Lawson on, it's a bad call.
Yeah.
You want someone that's already got experience in the car. Yeah, fair enough. Every team will get a rookie at some point. But with the car that you got at the minute and what you could potentially have next year, you'd rather have a driver that sort of knows the way around the car on the team and knows that can gel well.
Yeah. Well, I'm in full agreement with you on Lindblad, and it is a 9 out of 10. And I've gathered a few little statistics. As you know, points on debut, for me, is the right balance. And it's quite surprising because he's only just turned 19 and he's confident and he is aggressive, but it's measured. He's got that maturity. He's got incredible pace. So far this season, he's had 7 top 10 finishes and 2 top 10 finishes in sprint. China, Japan and Miami, he was unplaced. But then ever since then, he's had points in every race. He's had no DNFs and he's sitting 11th in the championship.
Yeah.
So he's a kid, and he more or less a kid, came in at 18 as a rookie, is up there challenging Lawson all the way. I think he's incredible. I think he's a real talent, and I'm looking forward to what else he'll do in the future. I'm just hoping, because we have this problem in F1 now, don't we, of like not enough seats, and there's people dropping through the net that are well good enough to be there, but just can't get the drive, and I'm really hoping that doesn't happen to Arvid.
I don't think it will.
I hope not.
I mean, I don't want it to happen to Lawson either.
No.
But it's F1. You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
The only time we'll find out when the soap is when contracts start popping up.
Yes, absolutely. So now we're moving on to the top 4, and we'll start with Red Bull. What's your mark for the Red Bull team this year?
It's a bit of a difficult one because they have shown that they have got great pace, but then they have shown that the car's not always reliable. I would probably say 7 because Red Bull are not at their strongest, like they have been for the past 5-6 years.
True.
I think this is possibly so far their weakest year that they've had for quite a few years.
Yeah.
They've had quite a few engine reliability issues. Like first race had Jar, was running P3, then boom, engine gone.
Yeah.
And I think it was only 11 laps. Obviously, yeah, fair enough, it's a brand new power unit, but with a team of that high calibre and expectations, they've been getting better throughout the year. Because obviously they've been getting more podiums, but they need to win, not get a second or third. They need to win because that's what they're used to.
Yeah, and very much when it comes to Verstappen, that's what he's used to and that's what he wants.
Yeah.
I've been a bit meaner. I've given Red Bull a 6 out of 10 for this year. They've kind of gone back and forth with McLaren for who's the 4th fastest, and right now they're not. That's very much McLaren, and I think that's going to be a problem for them potentially going forward, because we'll get to McLaren in a minute, but obviously there's been a big uptick in form there. Obviously they've got their own power unit with the Ford power unit, although yes, the fastest one there was a discussion about the Aduo, wasn't there? And it was decided that Red Bull actually had the fastest engine, but they're only looking at the combustion side of things, but they don't have the raw speed that the Mercedes power unit's got, so they're up against it there. Reliability's not been great, as you've touched on. Really bad balance issues. The team themselves say the car is, I've heard this quite a lot, sensitive.
And I think the car is still slightly overweight.
Yeah, that's not going to help either. I mean, Verstappen's mad as all hell, isn't he? He's not a happy bunny.
No, he's not.
He's not at all. And he's being very, I mean, Verstappen is very vocal anyway. You never left in any doubt how Max feels about anything. And he's been very vocal. And sometimes, I think sometimes he's a little bit in danger of, he starts down the radio now and we all roll our eyes and go, yeah. Because then he's still somehow managing to drag a result out of it.
Yeah.
Which speaks volumes about his talent. But it is a really hard to drive car. It's got a very limited sweet spot. The chassis it's just not working. We've seen Max spin it loads of times, and then that's a double whammy, because if you haven't got the confidence in the car, you're not going to put in your best performance because you don't know when the back end's going to step out and you send you into a wall. So obviously there was a massive restructuring. We all know what happened at Red Bull, and I suppose Hadjar's kind of doing okay. I'm not trying to.
He doesn't have the second seat curse.
People say that, but
we have seen.
We have, but wasn't that a different team under different management and different circumstances?
Yeah, but we have seen. Obviously, I know Hadjar hasn't beaten Verstappen yet, but we have seen he can race Verstappen.
Yeah,
he has been up the front.
But I would argue if you went back to last year or the year before, Verstappen would leave him for dead.
Oh, yeah.
So I think some of it is the new regs and the way things are. And that's not me putting Hadjar down or disrespecting his talent, because I'm pleased to see this, because I think everybody that stepped into that team back then went in with a sense of trepidation and dread, because they knew what was going to happen. And it must be a much nicer team to be. When I say the second driver, I don't mean that I think he is a second driver, but to be the other driver to Max than it would have been a year or two ago.
To be an actual teammate.
Yeah, be an actual teammate,
not just for the team.
Yeah, and not just there to act as rear gunner. So obviously it's new set of regulations. Everybody's going to struggle, but I do feel like Red Bull are floundering at the minute. So it's a 6 out of 10. So we'll look at each driver in turn. I mean, would you like to start with Verstappen or Hadjar?
I'll go with Verstappen. I have given him an 8. Might be a bit high, but he has dragged that car to podiums.
Absolutely.
When we know that car it's capable, but it's not. I would say it's not the best car to drive at the minute, as we know for Verstappen. The back end's constantly snapping, engine reliability issues. The car balances all over the place.
Yeah.
But he's still managing to drag a result out of it.
To his own surprise sometimes, like in Hungary.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got it.
I think the thing with him is he tries to keep out of everyone's way. He just tries to run his race. when he's got his head down, he can do it. But when I think it was Miami when he spun, if he hadn't have had that spin, he could have won that race because he had the car in that race. I think that was the race Antonelli won, but he had the car and pace to win that.
Yeah.
Just these little silly errors that I need to iron out. But obviously, with the spin at Silverstone, in Austin, not Austin, Austria.
We knew what you meant.
Yeah, it was the car. That was the car that won him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he was pushing, but I think there was evidence that the rear wing hadn't quite closed properly as he was coming into the corner, which I think that was the same issue with Silverstone.
I think the wing had closed, but the air hadn't reattached.
Yeah, because I think they tried to copy Ferrari's Macarena wing, which I think they are still running, but I think they're having to modify it to suit them better. Because I know McLaren have been trying the Macarena wing as well, but whether they've carried on with it, I don't know.
Not sure, because that was supposed to be in free practice 1 in Hungary. They were supposed to be running it again, but didn't. So I don't know what's going on there.
What's your take on Verstappen?
I have given him probably, I feel slightly mean, I've given him 7.5 out of 10. He's had 3 DNFs this season, which was China, Monaco and Great Britain. But he's also had 4 podiums, and 2 of those were on the bounce before the summer break.
Yeah.
Now, if you cast your mind back to last year, it was after the summer break that he came back big style. So I don't think you can ever count Max out at all.
No, I think he's one of these drivers that, like at the start of last year, wasn't quite there, but then he comes back. I think he's one of these you're gonna expect him to do it.
Yeah.
But this year, I don't. He won't catch up to the point of being a championship leader. I think he's miles off that. But could he finish top 3 in the championship? Maybe he might.
Yeah.
But if he wants to do that, he's gonna have to start beating McLaren and Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Russell in the top 3, but obviously we don't know how Russell's going to do. But Hamilton, he ain't going to get Hamilton.
No. I think sometimes, in some ways, he almost likes the challenge of having the car that's not quite as good as the others. It almost seems to push him forward.
Yeah, which I think sometimes it has shown does work.
Yeah.
Thing is, it gets your head in that mind space where you're like, okay, car's not great, but you know what? I'm going to push it. I'm going to push and push and push. I'm going to push myself, and then we'll be able to deliver the result that we want, or the result that we shouldn't have, but we'll get it because I am pushing it there.
Yeah. I mean, he's been really vocal. He doesn't like the shares cars. He's complained since the start of the season.
I don't blame him.
Well, no, I don't blame him. And specifically his own car, he complains about the downshift, the setup and the balance. But this is what I say, sometimes he's almost in danger of, we hear it every free practice session, the downshifts are rubbish. And he goes on and on. And then he comes out and sticks it in a decent qualifying place.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like someone say to him during that time, shut up, drive the car, go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's where GP is really good for him.
Yeah.
Because he lets him run for so long and then he's like, right, you've got it off your chest, shut up, concentrate on the job.
Yeah.
And we have seen some absolutely brilliant overtakes from
Verstappen. Oh, yeah. I mean, like with Verstappen and Hamilton in Canada, 2 world champions fighting where they actually had respect for each other.
Yeah.
And they overtook, very close overtaken, but plenty of room.
Yeah.
Which was nice to see because obviously we know they've had a bit of controversy in the past with like Monza where Verstappen was on top of Hamilton, Abu Dhabi where Verstappen won the championship. Obviously, there was quite a lot of animosity and hate at that point. Obviously, not between the 2 drivers, but it was just actually nice to actually see Verstappen actually race clean and overtake clean, especially with Hamilton.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we say, we can never count him out. So we have touched on it a little bit, but Hadjar, what mark have you got for Hadjar?
Hadjar, I'd say 8.
Okay.
Just because he might not necessarily always be up there, but he's there when Verstappen needs him.
Yeah.
He's there. Obviously, I'm not saying he's a rare gunner for Verstappen because I do honestly think if he gets the right car, right track, right strategy, he'll be up there.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've seen him start from the back and he's finished in the points. Who's the other driver that likes to do that? Verstappen. Hadjar's good enough. He's got the car. He can do it. Obviously, he's helped Verstappen out a couple of times with holding drivers up. Maybe not necessarily holding them up, but creating a bit of a train, which has helped Verstappen, that's what you sort of want in a team, but obviously you don't want to take advantage of it too much.
Yeah.
But no, I do think Hadjar has done well this year, considering the other previous years with other management.
Yes.
But no, he's done well. We have seen that he can race.
Yeah.
He's not a rare gunner. He can actually race.
Definitely. I hover between a 7 and an 8, and I've come down on the side of a 7, which I'm not sure about. But It's a 7-8. I mean, he's good on paper. He's had one DNF, which was Miami. He's had 8 points finishes.
2.
Was he?
Australia, engine blew up.
Oh, yes. Sorry, he's had 2 DNFs.
Where he was actually running podium.
Yes,
but his engine
that's
gave
true.
up.
Yeah, that's very true. I dropped the ball there. But yeah, 8 points finishes and almost the podium in Monaco.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a tough one, wasn't it?
I think going slightly off topic, they should have done it there and then. They shouldn't have waited because if I was Hadja, I'd be so annoyed because that was my first podium there just been taken away.
He was very gracious about it, though.
Yeah, that should have been decided well before the race had ended.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it couldn't be in those circumstances.
Obviously, I know that was. Did we say that's his first podium?
Officially, it's not. No,
he will get a podium. He'll get one.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, I mean, he's out-qualified Verstappen on a couple of occasions this year, and he is the best, and I don't like to say number 2 driver, but he is the best one they have had. But as I've said, it's a very different team. Yep. And my only criticism where I have knocked off a couple of marks, maybe I've knocked off one too many marks, is he can be a bit inconsistent, and I still think his hot-headedness needs a bit more work.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely hot-headed. Yeah. Consistency, yeah, he's slacking a little bit, but obviously with the issues that Verstappen's having, Hadjar doesn't really complain about the car. He gets on with it.
He does. Right, so now for McLaren. And for McLaren, I started out with 7.5 out of 10, crossed it out, put an 8. Done that for a few teams. There's no debating their early season was absolutely awful. DNSs, DNFs, most of the bad luck went Norris's way, but there was flashes of promise. Piastri, I feel, is struggling very much to settle into the car this year, but he was really good in China and should have won that. Norris is, in my opinion, driving better this year than he did last year in his championship year, but they are struggling to extract the pace that they need from the Mercedes power unit. They have actually said that they were behind with the development in this year's car because they concentrated so much on getting both championships in 2025 that took so much of their time and resources and effort that they're still playing catch-up a little bit on this year's car.
But could that mean when we come back from the summer break, we get the full McLaren package?
I think so. I think for me, when we were in Spa and Norris took that 10-place grid penalty, but we saw how we cut through the field, I was like, oh, somebody's popped 50p in McLaren here.
I would say that was probably the start of redemption.
Yeah, I would say there was definitely something different.
As soon as we come back, we're going to see the real McLaren. We're going to see the McLaren from last year.
To a degree, I don't think every track's going to suit.
No.
And I think they've got a problem when it comes to constructors' points because Piastri is struggling such a lot, as much as it upsets me to say that.
Yeah.
Like Oscar. And reliability, we still don't know yet. Have they got rid of all the gremlins?
The top teams are now starting to suffer.
Yeah.
So.
And the rear grip issue is, I think Norris is just coping with that rear grip issue a lot better than Piastri is.
Yeah.
A lot better. But they've got further updates coming in Azerbaijan that they're very excited about, apparently.
Yeah, hopefully Piastri don't crash it again.
Oh, don't. Let's not remember last year. That was terrible for him, wasn't it? So give us your mark from McLaren.
McLaren, I'll give them an 8. Just because, they've had a bit of a shocker start of the season, but they have progressively gotten better and better and better. In the last couple of races, we're now starting to see the McLaren that we saw last year. Maybe they might be a bit too late for the drivers and constructors, but never say never.
True.
You never know. After the summer break, McLaren could be up there 1-2 every race.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we nearly had a 1-2 in Hungary. But reliability again.
But the one thing that we can say, McLaren definitely got straight line speed.
Oh, yeah.
They have got the straight line speed. So challenge Merc and McLaren on straight line speed, they would Merc. Yeah, with them. Because obviously they now have, let's say, the upgraded 2.0 Mercedes engine. And since they've had that engine upgrade, especially Spa, we can now see that Norris and Piastri can potentially be up there on podiums.
Yes. And looking at the drivers individually, what's your mark for Lando Norris?
I would say 8.5.
Okay.
Because obviously, they've had a bit of a struggle, but Norris isn't one for giving up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's kept his head down. Yeah, he's had a couple of races where he's finished where he didn't want to finish, but he's carried on and he's starting to pick podiums up. I say he's very consistent. His lap times are pretty much on point with Ferrari, and Mercedes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he'll be one to watch out for towards the end of the season, I reckon, because I reckon he could be niggling at Russell's ankles, I reckon.
Very much. Yes, wouldn't be surprised at all. And I've given him a...
Also to add on to it, he's more relaxed this year.
Oh, yeah.
He's a lot more relaxed this year, so I think we're seeing more of Lando this year than we did last year, because obviously last year...
Pressure.
He had a lot of pressure, obviously couldn't really make mistakes, whereas this year, I think he's enjoying it now.
Yeah.
He's more relaxed, he's enjoying it, he's done the one thing he's gone out there to do, yeah? Maybe he'll want to win another one. He's one to watch out for.
Definitely. I've given him a 9 out of 10 for this year. There was, as we know, a lot of issues early in the season. The double DNS in China, but we saw something. I think we saw some pace in Miami from him. I think that was a good weekend.
Sprint race.
Yeah, you won the sprint, didn't you?
Won the sprint, but unfortunately, he just wasn't there in the race.
No. And that was followed up by double DNF Canada and Monaco. Podium in Barcelona, 4th in Great Britain. And considering he started 10 places down in Spa, he finished in 7th. Lots and lots of pace. The win in Hungary, it wasn't just a win, he won by 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is what Russell won the opening round in Australia by, and everybody was like, oh, well, that's it, isn't it? That's Mercedes just going to win everything. So I can just see like a lot of his racecraft has improved. His whole driver IQ has improved. He's calmer. He's more together. He's incredibly fast. And like you said, nothing's proved now. Confidence through the roof. And watch out for the rest of the season. He's only really lost a point from me because he still has that consistent Achilles heel of his starts. And it's, well, I say consistent, it's not. He either absolutely nails the start or he gets caught out on the start. But I think if he can just plug that gap, it'd be a 10 out of 10 year for him.
I do honestly think if I've had that penalty in Spa and obviously he had the new engine upgrade, I reckon he would have won it.
I think he would definitely been up there, yeah.
He had the pace. He'd have won it or he'd definitely got second.
Yeah, absolutely. And now for the other side of the garage, what have you got for Piastri?
Piastri, I've got 7. I do feel bad for him. Obviously, it's not going his way this year.
No.
The car's not suited for Piastri, you can just tell. He has been unlucky with China and Hungary where he was on course to win.
Yeah.
But again, reliability issues has let him down. Maybe, I don't know whether he's been damaged from last year, from where he was leading the championship and then he loses out to his teammate in the end. I don't know whether that's still playing on his mind.
Yeah.
So obviously that's such a big thing when you're so close and you get it taken away from you, especially by your own teammate, which is probably the worst feeling.
Yeah. Especially when he'd made such a strong start and everybody was like, oh, he's going to walk this.
Yeah, so whether that's made an impact on him for this year, which hopefully it hasn't. But no, I think if McLaren carry on the way they're going, he should get a couple podiums towards the end of the season. Hopefully top five in the drivers, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel for Piastri because I think had we not had a regulation change this year, I think you would have seen probably him and Lando going at it again for the championship, and this could have been Piastri's year.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, again, rubbish start to the year for him. We know what happened in Australia then. There was the double DNS. Should have won in Japan. Still say should have won. He was just unlucky with a safety car. And then that third in Miami, where for some reason the McLarens just went quite well in Miami, but just off ever since. Up until Hungary, which, as I say, I think he would have finished on the podium at the very least in Hungary if it wasn't for the reliability issue.
First or second at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Norris was onto him.
Yeah, he's just not enjoying this generation of cars at all. He doesn't like the lack of downforce. He doesn't like the slidey back end. He looks thoroughly fed up. I mean, he's not the most effusive person, is he,
No.
Piastri? I mean, I think he's hilarious because I think he's quite dry and quite funny in his own way. But he's not... In fact, I think the whole incident with Sainz in Hungary was probably the most animated and angry I've ever heard him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't blame him.
No, this is no criticism whatsoever. I think he was well within his rights to be as upset as he was. But he just is slightly giving off an aura of this is an uphill slog, and I'm a little bit sick of it. But I am hoping, with the pace that we saw in Hungary, get the reliability sorted out, that he'll be back in his groove after summer break, and we'll see. I'm not going to say it's going to be like, it's just going to be like the McLaren 1-2 all the way again. I don't think it is. But on the tracks that favours the car, I think we're going to see some really good fights between Norris and Piastri.
Well, we could see a 1-2.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
possible,
It's definitely not off the table.
To add on to the McLaren as a team, the strategies have been a bit weird, especially with Canada. That was a bit of a shocker, that one.
Some of their strategy calls are a little bit Ferrari-esque, aren't they?
Yeah.
And some of their pit stops are still, even now, still dropping the ball on the pit stops.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why have we not like got on top of that little gremlin? Because there's no point making all this progress and then one of your drivers comes into the pits and the pit stop is a mess.
Yeah, because you can easily lose 3, 4, 5 seconds in the pits.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's 3, 4, 5 seconds in the pits that is crucial on the track.
Yeah. So now we're already at the top 2 and we're on to Ferrari, and I can see Jake rubbing his hands together. So I'm going to let you go first then. Ferrari team point.
The mark for Ferrari, I'm going to give it a 10.
Are you really?
Yes, just because they have come along massively over the last couple of years. And for once, we're actually seeing strategies that actually work.
That is a novelty.
I mean, has McLaren and Ferrari switched?
It's felt like it some weekends,
but Ferrari have got the car. They have got the car to challenge Mercedes. They just need to keep going with the upgrades, because it is the upgrades that are favouring them at the minute. Yeah, all right. They've only had 2 wins so far, but Hamilton won by quite a big margin. Leclerc won with a fairly decent margin. Ferrari are basically predators to Mercedes. They're going to get them. They're going to catch them off guard. If they keep going, they could get Mercedes and the constructors with obviously reliability issues with Mercedes, with Antonelli DNFing, Russell DNFing. Ferrari are going to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
They are there. They're going to hunt them down. With having Hamilton on the team, Hamilton is their best driver to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I crossed it out, and I'm going back again, and I've given Ferrari a 9 out of 10. I did put 8.5 at one point and then realised that was too harsh. For me, it's just an overall, such an improvement on last year. They're just so much more cohesive as a team. Last year, it felt like a collection of individuals who kind of were running around like ants, not quite knowing what they were doing.
Yeah.
And this year, it's just so much more cohesive. Hamilton is just was like a different Hamilton to last year, much happier, properly embedded in the team now. They're listening to him. They're giving him what he needs.
He's got a new race engineer, which has obviously helped out
Oh
massively.
my God, I mean, last year.
Adamani, what was he doing?
Well,
whereas with now, this new engineer, it's heaven to him.
Yeah.
He can actually talk to him and actually get actual answers and not just stupid answers.
Because I know originally at the beginning of the year, at summer break, they were swapping the race engineer because they had somebody on garden leave waiting to come in. But now they're still taking that. I've forgotten his name. But they're leaving the race engineer situation alone, leaving it as it is. That's the best idea.
The thing is, no offence to Ferrari, they are not going to win a championship with Hamilton if they don't have his race engineer he's got now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can't really get any better. Out of all the teams, they've got really good reliability compared to the others. They're miles in front on the reliability. Hamilton is sitting second in the Drivers' Championship. Both drivers have had a win. The strategy calls are far better. But overall, the communication has just improved tenfold. It's just so good to see it. I think their strength is going to be the reliability, because I'm going to do a little pop quiz with you at the end of this, and I'm going to give away who's at the top when I say this. But out of all the teams, Ferrari have completed the most race laps this year.
Yeah.
So I think the combination of having that reliable car and having that cohesive team now where communication's key and everybody's listening to everybody, they've just done a great job.
And also, just to add on to it before I move on to the drivers, the car is built around Hamilton. Last year, it was built around Sainz. And obviously, we saw Hamilton did not get on with the car.
No.
They have listened to Hamilton this year. They have built him the car that he wants. They've done modifications to the wheel that he wants. You can see clearly it's all on Hamilton. Hamilton has the car that he needs to chase after that win and championship. And that is nice to see from Ferrari, with what we've had over the previous years, where they're like, oh, is that all? They don't listen to the drivers. They are now listening to both drivers. Yes. Do I think they're favouring Hamilton more because he's an 8-time champion and he's got more of a chance to win another championship? Yeah. Do I think it's the right call? Yeah, I do. But I feel a bit bad for Leclerc? Yeah, because he also deserves it. But Hamilton has just got that slight edge over Leclerc.
Definitely. So, moving on to the drivers then. How are we feeling about Hamilton then? What mark have we given him to this year?
10.
Ooh, is that your first 10?
Yeah, I've given him a 10. He's the only driver that's going to challenge Antonelli for the championship. No offence to Russell, but Hamilton
is in a better position to do that.
is in a better position. He who's got him most out of the car, who's the first to win for Ferrari with Leclerc. Not that really matters.
Mm.
But no, he's hungry. He's hungry for that 84 title. And I reckon after the summer break, if they carry on bringing the upgrades and he stops getting stupid ridiculous penalties, he'll be up there.
Yeah.
He is hunting down Antonelli.
Definitely. I've been slightly meaner and I've given him a 9 out of 10, which is not a bad grade, but it's not quite your 10. Well, really, I mean, what a difference a year makes. You can't believe it's the same person from last year. The situation, don't think I've ever seen him so down, and it's so good to see him back.
He's a lot happier now.
Yeah, back to his normal self. He's super hungry, he's confident, he's got the team to actually listen to him, and kudos to the team for that. He is very, very quick, and the car's quick, and as we said, reliable. He sometimes gets done over by an occasional bad strategy call, but that's just the way it plays out sometimes. My only criticism where he's lost a point is he has been collecting a few too many penalties, and some of them have been quite avoidable penalties. So that's where he's lost his points for me, and he needs to clean that up a little bit because he's second in the championship and he's got every opportunity to take this title.
Yeah.
So we can't be throwing away points on silly penalties. He's been massively consistent. Car-wise, no DNFs, and all his finishes have been 6th place and above. 5 podiums, including 1 win. You can't even believe it's the same driver as last year.
No.
So yeah, 9. Now, I feel a bit mean that I've said all that I didn't give him 9.5, but sorry, Lewis. So what about Leclerc for you?
8.
Right.
Just Leclerc is there, but he's not on the same level as Hamilton. Nowhere near the same level. Not as consistent as Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a few more issues than Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's obviously not his fault. Because with Leclerc being in Ferrari for so long, I don't think he has that mentality and motivation as he had when he first joined F1.
Yeah.
But maybe with the recent win that he had in Silverstone, maybe after the summer break we could see him up there. But if we're going to see him up there, we need Ferrari 1-2.
Yeah.
But at least we need Hamilton first because he's the closest. Only thing I didn't disagree with was, I can't remember which race it was. I think it might be Hungary actually, where Hamilton had got that 5-second penalty and Leclerc caught him up. If it was me, I'd have had Hamilton finish ahead of Leclerc. I know it's maybe like an extra 1 or 2 points, but that extra 1 or 2 points could help to win the championship for Hamilton and Ferrari, which obviously Leclerc is part of.
Yeah. My mark for Leclerc is also an 8. I think we do think of him as having worse results than Hamilton, but when you do look at it on paper, yeah, he's had a couple of 8s and a couple of DNFs, but the rest have been podiums, including a win, and a couple of 4ths. He went through that crashy phase, middle of the first half of the season, and I don't know what happened there. I don't know whether he went off the boil. I don't know whether he was just taken a bit off balance by Hamilton's resurgence.
Or maybe he just wasn't fully suited to the car yet.
Yeah, I think there was all this issue, wasn't it? I think he tried the same brakes as Hamilton, didn't like them, went back, came back again, and has taken his cue now from the way Hamilton sets the car up, and he's finding it better for him as well.
Yeah.
I have to say, full transparency here, while I don't dislike him, I'm not the biggest Leclerc fan in the world. I do feel for him a little bit at the minute because his whole identity has been Ferrari for so long.
Yeah.
And he's been the number 1 driver. And when room had to be made for Hamilton, Leclerc's seat was safe. And Hamilton came in and was not good, didn't have a good year. So it's probably shaking him right to his foundations that Hamilton has come in and is absolutely flying.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, with last year, obviously you could clearly see Leclerc was the number 1 driver last year, whereas now, I'm not going to say there is a number 1 or a number 2. I think they are both equal, but like I said earlier, Hamilton has got the edge.
Yeah, definitely does. So I think when we come back from this summer break, Leclerc needs to be really pulling his socks up and getting on with it and taking the fight to Hamilton.
Yeah, he needs to pull socks up and try and go for the championship, or he needs to help Ferrari and help Hamilton maximise the amount of points to catch Antonelli and Mercedes.
I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult for Ferrari to manage that. If they are put in the position where they need to say to Charles, you need to help Lewis, or you need to let Lewis past, or Lewis is going to get any kind of preferential treatment. And I think that the window is closing on Leclerc for stopping that from happening.
They need to make the decision now.
Well, I don't think they will yet. And I think Leclerc knows he's got a very finite window now where he has to show himself as being as good as Hamilton and as likely to take the championship, or they are going to put all of their resources behind Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then where does that leave Leclerc? Because Ferrari is, being number one at Ferrari is who Leclerc has been for years. So I think he's under a lot of pressure coming back from this break.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And now, finally, we're on to Mercedes.
For Mercedes...
That was a big sigh.
It was a bit of a hard one with the mark, to be honest, because obviously they started so well.
Yeah.
But now you're starting to see the bad sides of it, where there's more reliability issues, and it's now starting to take a toll. For me, I'd have to go 8, just because, like I said, they started really well, but now the reliabilities are now settling in, and they're not as quick as they were at the start of the season. And Ferrari, McLaren, possibly Red Bull, are now starting to catch on, and now starting to catch up.
Yeah. I undernad between a 9 and an 8 and settled on an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, obviously, they've been the fastest, haven't they? Everybody's said that.
Yeah.
And they looked untouchable at the start of the season. In Australia, it was a 1-2, 15 seconds clear of everybody else, and we all kind of rolled our eyes and went, oh, God, this is going to be so boring. So they look completely untouchable, but they don't now. They don't even look safe, let alone untouchable. The reliability is not great. In Hungary, they look terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know Antonelli ended up on the podium. It was a fantastic recovery, but the whole weekend was not great. And the problems with the power unit is affecting their the customer teams as well. I mean, obviously Mercedes as a team and not going to be bothered by that in some ways, but Mercedes as a team have lost a lot of points this year due to reliability in Canada, Barcelona, Great Britain, Hungary. Antonelli currently is the better of the two drivers, but if they don't get on top of this reliability, then they could lose both championships.
Antonelli will fall into the clutches of Hamilton.
Yeah, if this continues, absolutely.
So what's your mark for Russell?
Russell, I've given a 7.5 out of 10, because if you actually look at his results on paper, they're not actually as bad as people think. It's just that he's in Kimi's shadow. Compared to Kimi, the results don't look great. If you look at his results on their own, they look perfectly fine. They look typically George in that, the whole thing of like, does nothing get third. But Kimi's got 6 wins and George has got 2. Obviously, Canada and Monaco were DNF. We were a DNF and 12th, but he's had a lot of seconds, a lot of fourths, and he's always been known for that consistency. But unfortunately, the DNF in Belgium and the absolute crap start in Hungary has left him over 50 points adrift of Antonelli and third in the championship now. He's not really enjoying the car. He's not got to grips with it in the same way that Antonelli has. And I can't get a handle on quite whether Mercedes have been fully supportive in that. It seemed very harsh when they turned around and went, well, it's 50% the car and it's 50% you, George. But they've got the stats. They know better than we do who's at fault. I think it'd be very easy for people to fall into the trap they fell into last year with, McLaren favour Lando and, Mercedes are favouring Antonelli. Yes, at some point they're probably going to have to, but I'm not sure how much support George is getting. There is very much an impression, and I'm saying that very carefully. There is an impression at Mercedes that Antonelli is the golden child.
Oh yeah,
so I don't know.
To
if
me,
Russell's...
it's clear as day.
Yeah,
he's clear as day. I mean, obviously at the start of the season, you don't know because obviously both drivers were at the peak of performance by that time, but it's clear as day that Antonelli is the golden child now.
Yeah, I think Toto took it quite personally that he had this point to prove when everybody said he was wrong to put Antonelli in when he did. So I think he's got quite a personal stake in that, in proving people wrong. And that's not to say that I feel like, George is getting the breadcrumbs. I don't think he will be, because at the end of the day, they need the Constructors' Championship, so they need George to be up there scoring points. But I don't feel that they're fully as behind George as they are behind Kimi. So what's your score?
7. Just obviously not trying to be harsh. I mean, to me, obviously, it's not necessarily all his fault. Obviously, there is car reliability as well, but for me, he's not done enough for me so far. I'm not saying that he's not doing a good job, because he is, but he's been outdriven by his teammate.
Absolutely.
You can see it. It's a shame, really, because obviously we're seeing how Russell's been over the last 3 years. He can do it. He's got the car, he's got the motivation, but this year it's just after the first race when obviously Antonelli started to win. You can tell he's not happy.
No,
he's not happy. I think himself, he knows that the team are now prioritising Antonelli.
Yeah.
It's obviously that's put him in a difficult situation, because obviously he might not want to speak out about it because he could get shut down or if he makes too much fuss. Driving wise, yeah, he's there. Obviously, reliability issues, a couple of silly mistakes here and there. He just needs to keep a cool head. I think he's too vocal at the minute, especially over the radio, especially like in Canada when he touches headrest in the middle of the track, which, yeah, fair enough, we get your frustration, but, you need to act in a reasonable manner because, you're supposed to be setting an example to everyone on the TV as well, not just people around you. Also, I get his frustration from that, but, sometimes you just got to rein it in a little bit. But I do honestly think that he's possibly getting a bit too hot-headed. It's like he thinks he's better than everyone, but he's not. We all like to think that, but at the minute, I think what he needs to do, he obviously with this break, chill out. Obviously, congrats for him for getting engaged with Carmen. So hopefully, when he comes back, I would like to see Russell back on the game. And challenging Hamilton and Antonelli. But yeah, I think it'll be quite interesting to see what happens after the summer break, to whether the focus on Antonelli or to try and get both drivers to work together as a team. And either or both of them try and fight it for a championship.
Yeah. I do think that's going to be the awkward dilemma. I think last year for McLaren, it was different in that they pretty much had secured the constructors and could then concentrate on the drivers' championship and on having that level of fairness, and what will be. But Mercedes are going to be in that awkward position whereby they need both drivers finishing as best they can
definitely,
to try and get the constructors. So I think it's going to make it very difficult then to give team orders or anything like that. I do feel kind of sorry for George. And when I say I'm not a George Russell fan, I don't mean I don't like him. It's not that I don't like him or I do like him. He's a driver to me. I don't particularly feel one way or the other about George, but I do feel bad for him in that I do think he's had the lion's share of the bad luck this year. I think he's had really, really bad luck. Some of the things that have happened to him have been his own doing. And I feel like a lot of this new being very vocal about the team on the radio is because he's got his career to think about, and he's got to think about when he leaves Mercedes. And if he doesn't speak up and say, well, come on guys, this should have been sorted out before now, or I can't believe that this has happened, that people could get the impression that he's the one that's at fault all the time. So I think it is important that he does speak up sometimes and say, oh, you've dropped the ball here. I've been put in this position through no fault of my own, to protect himself. Yeah, we'll see what happens when he comes back. Hopefully a bit more luck would be good. So what about Antonelli?
9.
Oh, interesting. So I've had a lot of people.
Well, 9.5, 10. We'll go with 3 of them.
That's pushing your bets a bit too much, but
I'll tell you what, I'll go 10 then. No, to be honest, I'll say Antonelli and Hamilton are both on par.
Right.
Obviously, we know Antonelli's got more race wins than Hamilton at the minute, but they are both fighting for the championship. I'll say they're both level pegging. Antonelli's not safe.
No.
The car's got reliability issues. Ferrari's has had hardly any. Yeah, I mean, he's pulled out some very good results for his second year in F1.
Yeah.
Practically as a rookie as well, but leading the championship isn't bad. I personally think that he's a bit vocal on the radio as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes he needs to rein that in.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he's quite aggressive on track.
Yes.
As we've seen with him and Russell, he needs to rein that in a bit. The thing is, if you're going to be aggressive with the likes of Hamilton and Verstappen, you got to be careful because they'll do it to you back and it will ruin your race.
Yeah.
But no, I think he's having a very good season so far. He just needs to be careful. He's just got to tone it down slightly, but he has got to watch his back because Hamilton is coming after him.
Absolutely. I like Antonelli a 9.5. He's undoubtedly fast. He's very, very fast. And he understands the car. He's managed to get on terms with that car that George can't find.
Yeah.
And it definitely suits him better. Obviously, great start to the season, second in Australia, but everybody just kind of thought, there's going to be a bit of back and forth between Russell and Antonelli, and Russell will come out on top, but it's not the way it's playing out, because then he got 5 wins in a row. DNF in Barcelona, 3rd in Austria, 15th in Great Britain, but then 1st in Belgium and 3rd in Hungary. So it's been a bit more of a mixed bag. Like you said, the reliability's not been there, and others have caught up. Like you said, Hamilton's caught up, but Antonelli is still the one to beat.
Oh, yeah.
If the car's good, he's still the one to beat. For me, where he's lost his half a point is his Achilles heel, his track limits.
Oh, yeah.
And also,
he's a track limit king.
Yeah. He needs to just tidy that up a little bit and sometimes for me, I know not everybody watches the free practice sessions, but I like to. And I've heard him on the radio sometimes get very, very snarky about other drivers and like, why have they gone out before me? And to the point where Bono said to him one time, "Oh, I'm not in control of who else lets
Yes, I do
others
remember
out.
that. Yeah.
And why does it always happen to me? Why is there always people in my way? It's because you have to share the track, Kimmy." Just a very low level little bit of entitlement that
The thing
needs
is, just
ironing out.
because you're in the top team and you're leading championship doesn't mean that
You
you
get
are
rights.
entitled to
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
You are on track with 21 other drivers.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Some practice sessions, it might just only be like 10 drivers that are out.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't give you
it's
automatic right to room
thing
on
is,
the
what's he going to
track.
do when he's in the race? Oh, I don't want anyone on the track.
Yeah.
You
It's
can't.
part of that learning curve that he's got to learn to deal with. And I'm not saying that he's become entitled. I see him away from the or kind of like not behind the wheel. Fantastic with the marshals. Fantastic with the kids when they do the
On the team.
Yeah, fantastic with the team. Fantastic with the kids when they do the national anthem. Seems to be very personable and likeable and well liked by everybody. So I'm not saying he's got this kind of like swaggery attitude of, I'm the best thing ever. But behind the wheel, you see that just a little bit, and that just needs pulling back a little bit.
It's like, I know myself, once my racing helmet goes on, that's it. Different person. You're not the same person.
No.
You focus on that one thing, and that's the only thing that you care about.
Yeah.
So I do get where all the other drivers come from.
Yeah, I understand. But yeah, for me, that's just that one little half a point off the track limits and just a little bit of attitude.
Yeah.
So we have reached the end there, but I am going to do a little pop quiz with you. Let's see who you think, when it comes to this, is the most laps completed. Who do you think has completed the least amount of laps?
Cadillac.
Yeah, bang on. And what about the next ones up?
Aston Martin.
Correct. 2 for 2 so far. And who has done the third least amount of laps completed?
Haas.
No. I was surprised at this one. But when you think about it afterwards, you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Williams.
No.
Alpine.
No.
Who am I missing?
I was surprised.
Racing Balls?
No.
Red Bull?
No.
McLaren?
Yes.
Really?
But 2 DNSs and not,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because when I first, I was like, that's not right. And I was like, oh, no, it actually is.
Yeah.
And who next?
Aston Martin?
We've had Aston Martin. It goes Cadillac, Aston Martin, McLaren.
Haas?
No.
Alpine?
No.
Racing Balls?
No.
Red Bull?
No.
Mercedes?
No.
Ferrari?
No.
Who am I missing?
Have a look on your list. Ladies and gentlemen, the tension is building.
You found my list. Why can't I just look on my phone?
Yeah, look on your phone. So Cadillac.
Oh, Audi.
Yeah.
How the hell did I forget Audi?
So Cadillac, Aston Martin, McLaren, Audi. Who's next? Who's done the fifth?
Haas.
No.
Alpine.
Nope.
Red Bull.
Nope.
Racing Balls.
Nope.
Mercedes.
Nope.
What?
Who?
Well, I know it's not Ferrari.
No.
Williams.
Yay.
God.
And this one was a bit surprising, the next one.
What's his fifth? Or sixth?
1, 2, 3, 4, 6th. So we're talking about right, sort of in the middle. A little bit surprising.
Alpine.
No.
Haas.
No.
Mercedes.
No.
Racing Balls.
No.
Red Bull.
Yes.
Jeez.
So Red Bull have completed less laps than Racing Bull.
Then Racing Balls next.
Yes. And then who's done the fourth most completed laps? This one surprised me.
Haas.
Yeah.
Haas. Alpine.
No.
Mercedes.
Haas, Mercedes.
Alpine. Ferrari. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Ferrari's done the most, then Alpine, then Mercedes, then Haas, Racing Balls, Red Bulls, Williams, Audi, McLaren, Aston Martin, Cadillac. I think the biggest surprise for me was the McLaren one until I realised that the DNSs and things. So, thank you very much for joining me today for our mid-season report. Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, I have, thank you.
We didn't fight much. We're pretty much on the same page on a lot of things.
Yeah, I look forward to joining you again for hopefully another race review or end season review.
Absolutely, definitely.
Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed that, and thanks for staying with us for a bit longer episode. We've had a lot of fun recording it. I hope you had a lot of fun listening to it as well. And don't forget to comment with your opinions on the season so far. And I'd really love to see some predictions for the second half of the season as well. Talking of which, I will be back next week with my Zandvoort preview. I'm so excited to have our F1 back. I've personally been really busy, so this break has gone quite quickly for me. It hasn't felt like it's dragged quite as much as normal, but I am so stoked that F1 is back next weekend. And not only that, but it's a sprint weekend, which, as you all know, I absolutely love. So I'll be really looking forward to doing that preview and really looking forward to speaking to you all again next week. So in the meantime, look after yourself, be kind to yourself, and don't forget the cheesy tagline, That Tracks F1 Podcast. Track the action, join the fun. Bye!